Hello, today we've got a special video where I don't know if it's either going to be longer than the last one or like way shorter. This one, instead of just being like a bunch of expanding, we're going to see like just a massive war kind of happen. So, like, you know how in episode 1 when the blue team lost their monarch, they got assassinated and that started, and that meant the whole split happened. Well, they find some records in the red team capital because they sent spies there. So, I don't know, they just like sent in something. And they found stuff there which showed that the red team also, added the capitals and provinces. But the red team, like, they were the ones who assassinated them. Now we're going to see that both the Turkish team and the Greek team are going to declare war on the red team. I'm just getting the ideology. They are publicists, and they might not want to declare war on the Greek team, but basically all of the population, and also just the people, the aristocrats, I don't know. So anyway, but the aristocrats and the public basically agree, we want to go to war with them. But not so fast, because now Iberia is like, yes, now's our chance, let's jump Italy. Who knows if it's going to be a successful mission or not, but they're like, yeah, sure. Not Italy, Greece. We don't like them, so why not? And yeah, I was initially going to include Israel, Kyrgyzstan, and Caspia. Well, not Caspia, but originally just the two. I like the triangle better. But I'm going to decide not to because it just got too confusing and then it'd be a world war, and I don't really want a world war right now. We're just going to have a, Western kerfuffle. So the first attack we see being made is by the Greek team. Now, just to signify, different attacks on places and stuff, just so this becomes less confusing, we're going to use a different colour. And it is in this province, and we see that, Egypt gets completely kicked out of Italy. That just kind of happens. They're completely kicked out. We see that right after this, Crete is taken by Turkey. And, the red team is going to start their own invasion. No. They're going to start their own invasion by taking the southern bit of Cyprus. And they're also going to take Sardinia. Now, along with this, we're just going to... Let's put it sure. We see that Spain gets invaded into, Iberia gets invaded into, losing a lot of the north, and they're getting dangerously close to the capital. But they're also kind of just going along the north, where a lot of the population is. Along that, they also take those islands. And Iberia is really regretting this, because they were just a rebel group, and we've got a fully fledged country that's also been stable and around for longer. Alright, so we're going to see that now that they're kind of busy in Iberia, the recapture of Sicily and Malta happens by the red team, as they also take Corsica. But this doesn't stop the attack on Iberia, as they get ever closer to the capital. They're also just invading into these provinces, take all of the Atlantic coast, which doesn't really mean anything at the moment, but, it happens. It does happen. We see that because the forces are going to spread out in Greece, which is the bigger enemy, they're stronger militarily because they're just massive, they're bigger. So we see that the recapture of southern Cyprus happens, and a landing is also made on the red team, which really gives them a shock because they travel 2 provinces over and are right by the capital. Don't know why I still have the ideology map on. This means that they take some of their forces out, meaning that if they can just retake back all of that, call it Italy. Well, it's Italy and Greece. So yes, this is what the counties look like. Yeah. I think even though it goes against the original borders I drew, just because I don't like these like counties, like how they look, I'm just gonna go on this. Okay, that's a bit too big. I'm just gonna give it over to the Greek team, you know. Couldn't hurt to give them more land. Actually, not now. The Turkish are lacking in land more. So I'm gonna just give over, like, I mean, maybe not that bit down there, but like, no, all of this. Maybe like that. Now just edit this so that we have no oopsies. Leave that. Alright, so these are the new borders that I just drew up because it kind of looked better, I'd say. Yeah, sure. I'll give myself that. Alright. But anyway, let me just switch back to my normal rubber. Yeah. So we see that a bit more invasion is made over there, but eventually the capital of Iberia is captured, and this is followed quickly by the surrender of Iberia, which red team is kind of mad about. They're like, come on, you were supposed to protect me from the pink team, from Greece, and now you're not. Which also leads to them being kicked out for Sicily again. A landing is made there, and eventually these two fronts connect up to go here, as we see that this is taken over by the Turkish team and all this, and eventually the capital is met. So the red team surrenders. Oops. And you know, Israel was going to join this because they're on pretty good terms with the red team. They both hate the Turkish team. Like, they're on pretty good terms with Egypt. But they knew that it was probably like too big of a bone for them, bit too big of a chunk for them to bite off or whatever. I don't know. It was just too big of a fight and they didn't really want to get involved in it. So they didn't. But now we see that these two have massively expanded. So let me draw up these new borders. Alright, so in this peace tree we see that Iberia loses like all of this land, so like all of this, which isn't devastation, but you know, it's better than what could have happened. But they also lose all of this like Mediterranean territory, so sad. And when I say the Greek, like, Greece is looking terrifying right now. Greece also got all of like Tunisia, Mediterranean, basically all of this bit from the red team, along with Sicily and southern Italy. For the blue team, we see that they got the Sinai Peninsula, along with the old red team capital, and kind of just all of like this northern bit. And this P basically signifies that the red team is their puppet. The P means the puppet, and they also got Crete. Blue team got Crete. Which, yeah, is a massive thing. Now, I don't really know what to do with, like, this kind of capital situation. Because, I mean, I know what I'm going to do. Oops. That becomes a major city. Oops. Yeah, it becomes a major city, which I'm going to do now. So I'm I'm adding major cities, I'll do that later on, but for now, it's just going to be if you take over another country's capital, then it becomes a major city in your country. But now, for the question of... Wait, so... And if I do... Okay, so I need to merge them. Anyway, now propose the question, where will the new red team capital be? This is going to be in... Okay, why are these provinces do not make any sense? They're supposed to represent, like, population and how dense the population is per county, but in the middle of the Sahara, it isn't going to be like how it just was. Yeah, that's fine. But it's going to be in the... Okay. Right, now it's fine. It's going to be in the most populated area, which is right there. But also the blue team basically makes them put it there, saying like, oh, don't do anything to us today, or else we're just going to storm your capital immediately. And, yeah, I don't know how long this episode's going to be. So, you know, just to make it a bit more interesting. So it isn't a tiny amount. We are going to... Oh, wait, actually, I do need some other stuff to do. But, first, we're going to see that the Israeli team expands a tiny bit more downwards. And more into Yemen. Click all of it. And we also see that the Caspia explores all of that land, taking all of it. And anyway, I do have something to do, which is change the ideological map. First of all, get rid of this. Now, after that, they're going to say an aristocracy publicist, but these guys are going to basically be forced to also become that. Like, it's in the agreement, just so they didn't lose more land, was that they had to become, like, also publicist. And for these guys down here, so now I've added promises, the borders look way more natural. They're forced to, because they're a puppet, they just live under the same monarchy. And despite hating each other, Greece and Turkey kind of like, their issues are sorted out, you know? They used to hate each other, but now that they've teamed up on this red team, on Egypt, which I'm probably doing, might still call Egypt, but it's closer to probably like Sudan maybe now. But Egypt, like now they've ganged up in it, they're like, why were we even fighting in the first place? Red team caused all our problems. And you know what? We don't need to fight anymore. We'll just go our separate ways. And they no longer hate each other. But that will be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and goodbye.